Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope you wore your green. I have stripy socks on from my emo phase in high school. Uh, I wanted to take advantage of the magic of the internets today to share some thoughts that I have about what's going on right now. And in particular, I wanted to focus in on the subjects of worry and wisdom and faith. So, before I launch into this, I just want to encourage compassion for people who are stressing out and anxious and afraid right now. I don't think that it serves anyone to look down on people who are scared. I think that there are a lot of reasons people have for being scared, and probably some of you are, many of you. I mean, in addition to worrying about our health and safety, both of ourselves and of the people that we care about, there are also the economic upheavals to consider. There's job security, food security, housing security. And for a lot of you guys, I know that you're worried about how this semester is going to go academically when everything's being moved online. So there are a lot of reasons to be concerned, and I just want to validate that. However, I also want to invite you guys into really looking at this subject of worry and maybe helping yourselves, helping each other develop an emotionally mature response to what's going on right now. So the Bible actually has a lot to say on the subject of worry, and I could probably spend an hour flipping through here and giving you context and all of that. But instead of spending all of our time on that, I'm actually going to zero in on a couple places that I want to highlight. One of them is in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and Jesus is talking here. This is actually, I mean, you're not really supposed to show that much preference, but I think this is a fantastic chapter. But I'm not going to focus in on the whole thing. I'm just going to go to verse 25, where it says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes?" So I'm going to pause here. The word worry here in Greek means basically to be, sorry, wow. Coronavirus! No, my throat's just clogged, it's fine. The word worry here in Greek basically means to be torn apart with anxiety. And actually, the word worry in English is not too different. If you trace it back etymologically, it basically is saying like to be oppressed, pressed, pushed, shoved around. So the idea is you have something that's very physical and gut-wrenching, that's completely distracting you from anything else that you could be focusing on in your day-to-day. And Jesus is inviting you not to consider food and clothing unimportant, but not to be torn apart by them, not to be torn apart by worry. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? So there have been earlier places in this same section where Jesus is inviting people into a day-to-day trust in life with God. And this is what he's continuing on with. Just looking to your Heavenly Father for provision, walking with him day to day, not spending all of your time and emotional energy stressing about things, but instead trusting. So he goes on to say, this is my favorite part, "Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to his life?" Now, from a psychological perspective, worry is incredibly harmful, physiologically harmful. Stress and anxiety and worry, they compromise our immune system, not preferable right now. They impair our decision making, also not preferable during chaotic times. They limit our emotional resilience. They're really problematic. I don't want you to guilt yourselves over worrying about something. Just note that worrying is one of your body's first responses to noticing that something is wrong. And then your next response to that should be to pray about it and ask God to lead you into wisdom. Wisdom is another topic that gets a lot of space biblically. There are actually multiple books within the Bible because, for those of you who don't know, the Bible is less of a singular book and more of an anthology of writings spanning hundreds of years. But there are entire books in the Bible that are dedicated to discussing wisdom analyzing it. It's a very complex and intricate and rich topic. The book of Proverbs, for example, is one of the more simplistic wisdom writings in the Bible, and it basically is a series of observations about what it looks like to live a wise life versus a foolish life, and what the ramifications are for living a foolish life, and what the benefits are for living a wise life. Living wisely is important. So the answer to not worrying is not to basically stick your head in the sand, plug your ears, pretend that there's nothing wrong. The answer is to step into wisdom, to look at what's happening really rationally and in a very grounded way, and take steps to address what's going on. So when we're looking at wisdom, I'm actually going to flip forward now that I've talked about some of the wisdom writings which are in the Old Testament, things like Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. Oh, if you want to really have fun with some rich, slightly emo writing, go to Ecclesiastes. It's so cynical. I love it. Proverbs is more hopeful and straightforward. But actually, and going forward, I want to go to the book of Philippians, which is an epistle, a letter that's addressed to the church in Philippi. So at this point, Jesus has died. He's been resurrected from the grave. He's ascended into heaven, and the baby church is just starting to take root. And they're facing a lot of problems, a lot of cultural opposition, a lot of persecution. People are dying. And in this particular section, Philippians chapter 4, the writer has talked about a lot of things, but this section stands alone very well, and it also, I think, applies to our situation now very well, so I'm going to highlight it. It says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." So the idea is, yes, there are reasons to be concerned, and I just want to validate that again. Walking with God, even for us like super Christian people, walking with God does not guarantee us safety in this life. In this particular instance, it doesn't guarantee us that we're not going to get sick. It doesn't guarantee us that our loved ones aren't in danger. Walking with God guarantees us something much deeper and more important than just the physical realities in this life. And so what Paul is saying is, regardless of your circumstances, no matter how difficult things are, still rejoice in the Lord. How do you do that? How are you able to rejoice in the Lord? Well, the Lord is near. He's here with you right now. You can talk to him. Do not be anxious about anything, but instead of being anxious with anything, replace that anxiety with an inclination to bringing everything to God. So I'm worried about something. What do I do about it? I bring it to God. I talk with him about it. Is it an instant solution to the physical reality? Occasionally, generally not. However, what it does do is it allows God to begin shaping our approach to what's happening here, which in turn grants us his wisdom, and much more vitally even than that, listen to this, verse 7, Philippians 4:7, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ." So the idea is here, God is changing the landscape of your mind, and he's inviting you into a depth of peace that's not dependent upon your circumstances, but is a true trust and faith in who God is and what his provision is for you, in his sovereignty in whatever is going on, and in his leadership on your life. Finally, brothers, it says, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. When we take our worry and we invite God to transform that within us with his wisdom, to his peace, and we set our minds on things that are good and important and true and trustworthy and pure and admirable and lovely, instead of being caught up in anxiety and in frustration with the state of the world today. What's interesting is God gives us opportunities to act. And this, I think, is something that I just really have to encourage you guys not to take too lightly, not to dismiss. Right now, in these chaotic times, these are times when God can work in your life extremely profoundly. He can use your time here when things are in chaos to be a blessing to the people in your lives. He can give you opportunities to step up. Take care of your stuff. Do the wise thing. Make sure that you're provided for. Make sure that you are being safe and reasonable and rational in these times. Make sure that you're not going completely nuts. So make sure that you are ready for what's going on. But then beyond that, look for the opportunities that God is presenting you. That might be an opportunity for real, genuine, deep, rejuvenating rest. Who has that as a mind student? Who has that as an American? Who has that in this world? But an actual real opportunity to spend time with your Creator, spend time with your loved ones, get to know yourself a little bit better, and grow as a person. This is an amazing time for that. This is also an amazing time to help your neighbors. Look for the people who are elderly, who are at risk if they're going to go shopping. Get them their groceries, drop them off. You don't even have to go inside. Take care of the people in your lives. There are so many opportunities right now to turn this time from a time of uncertainty, chaos, or even just boredom into a time that is meaningful and important. And that's really where I would encourage you guys the most. Use this time. Don't waste this time. Look for what God is doing and follow Him into that. And I hope, you guys, that through all of this, you see God's provision and you find and feel God's peace, and that you're able to share God's love with the people that He has placed in your life. Take care and have a good week. Enjoy your extra extended break, and hope to see you guys around. Blessings. Bye.